I don't think I'll ever go home again.
Emerald Fennell as a director, she's already achieved a lot of success. She's coming off of a really hit feature film that came out in 2020, Promising Young Woman. It actually won
Hmm.
her the Academy Award for, I believe it was Best Original Screenplay. So she has already cemented herself as an in-demand director, as somebody that's very talented with a lot of eyes on her. And so of course her next feature film, Saltburn, was going to have a lot of anticipation behind it. It had its world premiere recently at the Telluride Film Festival, and it's also bringing together, some actors that have a lot of heat behind them. Barry Keoghan, Jacob Elordi is on a really nice, hot, particular run right now. And
Hmm.
also, some more well-established actors like Rosamund Pike or Richard E. Grant. So it's a really, really impressive cast. This movie had a limited theatrical release, I believe, this past weekend in both LA and New York, and it's going to have a wider release in the coming weeks here. But we got a chance to check this out and go officially see how this film was. And so I'll pass it over to you, man. What did you think about the new film Saltburn?
I think Emerald Fennell is two for two, man. This is a such a crazy and insane movie. To be honest, I had no idea what this movie was about. I had maybe seen a trailer, but even then I watched it very passively. And so I was just hearing good things about Saltburn. And so I went into it though pretty blind. I just knew Barry Keoghan was in it. I knew Rosamund Pike was in it. And was excited to watch the film, man. And this movie, like I said, is absolutely nuts. It's just one of those movies that I think it I don't know. I like that I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So part of me, I'm not gonna tell y'all pretty much anything about the movie. Just know this dude, Barry Keoghan's character is very attracted to this guy he meets at college. And from there on out, he is like he invites him, the guy he's attracted to invites him to spend a summer with him at his parents' rich, crazy house called Saltburn. And it goes from there. But man, this movie is a fun story to follow. And I feel the same way that this movie really feels like a I don't even know how to explain it, but a picking apart of maybe like multiple personality disorder. I don't know what it is, but there's a lot here. And there's a lot to get into. But why I did think this film was entertaining. I think I was also looking forward to be kind of different by ways in which what's her name? Emerald Fennell directs. And I got that. I think I was excited to see, like, okay, how was she going to switch up this movie from Promising Young Woman? And there's a lot of good like camera movement in here. There's a lot of good like music moments where we're following certain characters either behind them or in front of them. There's moments where she just sits on a character and you're gonna watch it. Whatever's happening on screen, she's like, look, you're gonna look at this thing and it may be disturbing and it may be weird, but you're gonna watch it. And so it was kind of creepy in that way. She made it into a horror film in that way when you're watching it, and it was kind of scary. In that way, it did become a horror. And so I think this movie is really about who the kind of people you you let into your life and how much you know them, and what they can do to you, man. It's a fucked up movie at the end of the day, long story short. But I enjoyed what she brought to the screen. I enjoyed the performances. I think Barry Keoghan absolutely killed it. He was made to do some weird stuff. He's known to be in just some of the weirdest movies ever. Anyway, Barry Keoghan is not a if we anytime he's on the screen, I know something weird's going to happen, and I was right in this movie as well. But I think overall, man, this is a movie that's definitely worth watching. That's definitely worth checking out. I think if you are looking for one of those movies that are gonna you don't know what it's about and you're trying to figure out what it's about for half the time, and then you're like, oh, that's what's happening here. If you want one of those kind of movies, no, I think this movie is for you, man. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, you're gonna be creeped out by the end of it.
I really, really enjoy the style and the artistry that Emerald Fennell brings to her various projects. And now with Saltburn, this is the latest entry in the takedown of the super rich genre that we've been experiencing over the past few years. You know, we got recent entries like The Menu and Triangle of Sadness and Parasite and even Succession to a certain degree, where we examine the super rich and the super wealthy and we just fucking take them down and we just watch them crumble when their world is kind of evaporating before their very eyes due to an outside force or some uncontrollable circumstances. And Emerald Fennell, she's very familiar with this world. She also went to Oxford. Oxford, you know, is kind of the scene setter for a lot of the different events throughout the course of this movie. So she's very familiar with this type of story. But you do follow Barry Keoghan's character who attends Oxford. He's very much an outsider, an outcast. Nobody really likes him. He eventually finds Jacob Elordi's character Felix, develops this romantic crush for him, but doesn't ever explicitly tell that to him. But then, you know, Felix invites him to stay with their family and really just experience what it's like to live in this super lavish, super wealthy, super rich estate that they have just over in Europe out in the middle of nowhere, where they can just party and do whatever the fuck they want. They can take drugs. They have maids and waitresses. It's all sorts of stuff. You think it would be a dream scenario to just spend a summer there or to spend, you know, a season there to do whatever you would want. But Barry Keoghan's character, Oliver, he has something bubbling underneath the surface, which is a lot more sinister. And he is the perfect person to play this role because he is a master at unsettling you. He's a master of getting you to not trust him and to understand that this is somebody who has something mentally going on inside his head that's just not right. There's so many scenes in here that will make your fucking jaw drop. If they leak on the internet, don't watch them. Watch them within the context of the movie. You got to see the build up. But there's multiple scenes where I'm just like, I cannot believe this is happening. This is unreal right now. There's a bathtub scene. Jesus Christ. I can't even, I think about it. The last scene of the movie, like there's so many sequences where it's like, this guy is unhinged. Like he is the epitome of just like the most dastardly, most disrespectful, the most disgusting person you might have ever met. And you wouldn't know that because he seems unassuming when you first meet him as a character. He seems like he's an outcast and that he's like friendless and that he's, you know, innocent. This person that you should, you know, believe is innocent. But that's not the case. Like this guy he has a lot more going on to him than what you think. And so I think that this is supremely well acted. I love the direction. I love the look of it, the set design and the production design. Like you really get the sense of this lavish lifestyle. You get to see how rich these people are. They have an endless amount of resources and money. Rosamund Pike is stealing scenes in here. She's saying so much funny stuff. Richard E. Grant is also really, really good in this movie. And Jacob Elordi, man, he's developing quite the resume for himself. Like the guy is super talented. I'm going to talk about him again in a second when I talk about Priscilla, but man, he's taking on some very, very interesting projects and he's becoming kind of the it person of Hollywood, the young it actor of Hollywood. And I really enjoyed him here as well. And so overall, I think that this is something that I would absolutely recommend. Again, if you enjoy those movies like A Triangle of Sadness or The Menu, even, this is another one of those, you know, types of movies where you just get to see this really wealthy family kind of crumble before your very eyes. I just will warn you that this goes a lot further in terms of shocking subject matter than even those other movies do. It takes it even further. Emerald Fennell, her sensibilities are unique. I don't know if there's anybody else directing quite like her on a big level at this stage in the game. I think now we kind of know going into her films, like this is going to be unsettling. This is going to make you feel uncomfortable and feel really weird about yourself and feel terrible about who you're watching too, because it's one of those things where her characters are just kind of deplorable for lack of a better word. The only thing that I will say though about the movie in its construction, in its makeup and how it's designed, it's one of those films where it doesn't really reveal itself until the final moments of the movie.
Exactly.
Like the story kind of snaps into focus at the end. And this is not the first time. Like obviously this movie is, I think it's taking a lot of DNA from the talented Mr. Ripley and a lot of inspiration from that film. But when you walk that line, that can be kind of a dangerous path to walk because you might lose some people because they might just be watching a sequence of events where it's like, yeah, what the fuck is wrong with this dude? Like, what's going on here? Like, why do we just continue to just subject ourselves to this, you know, really deplorable stuff? But I think by the end of it, if you're able to stick with it and you understand like what's going on, it can still be a wholly satisfying experience for you. But I will say that that's one of the things that could potentially be leveled at it in terms of a criticism is that you really have to stick with it the entire time to understand truly the nature of it and to understand what's going on behind the scenes here. But still, I think a great movie definitely is creeping into like one of my favorites of the year. And I can't wait to rewatch it again very soon. But folks, those are all of our thoughts about the brand new film Saltburn. If you've checked it out, probably haven't because it's not widely released yet. Or if you plan to check it out, definitely hit us up and let us know what you think.